When Meghan Markle did this on their docu-series, Harry and Meghan, their story, or whatever it was called at the time, this literally was the one thing that set everybody off, as you can imagine. So disrespectful about our late and wonderful monarch, Queen Elizabeth II. There, Harry sat looking slightly embarrassed, but he should have said, actually, that didn't happen. I think you made that up. But he didn't. He allowed it to go on because he's a lapdog and daren't say anything to his wife, who was being incredibly disrespectful to a lady who'd done her no wrong, a certain lady of a vintage year who had, well, tried her very best to make her welcome. And what did she do? Mock the very thing that she stood for. And everybody was appalled, including some of the executives who very politely said, are you sure you want to include this? And as I told you at the time, Meghan had the opportunity to have it removed. As the executive producer, she had the very final say in that. But she let it go in because she felt that this would show her fun, comedic side and people wouldn't be offended at all. Basically, it's what Meghan wants, Meghan gets. So she got it. And what she got in spades was a lot of negativity. But here's where this gets interesting, because once again, she simply never learns. As ever, let me explain. Good to see you, chums. Thank you so much for joining me today. And as ever, welcome one and all brand new subscribers. How are you? I'm all right, thank you. It looks all right, really, now, doesn't it? This is a lovely spot, let me tell you. Very safe. Yeah, you have to find these spots. People say, you do look out for yourself. And you're like, oh, I do, honestly. And I've got a nice man over there that works for the council. Very sweet man who's just looking out, shall we say. It's always good, isn't it? You know what I mean? You have to just take care of yourselves wherever you are, chums. Absolutely. Now, here's the thing, right? As I said, it's an interesting story, this, because, Meghan doesn't have that many friends left. She talked about in this series, didn't she, about having the same friends since she was 17. I think it was the Bloomberg woman. And you think, yeah, well, how come we've never seen them? If you had all of these friends, where were they at your wedding? Nobody questions anything. The woman at Bloomberg was utterly useless. She made Jamie Kern-Lima look like, Einstein. Yes, just agreeing with everything. Okay, well, where were these friends then at the wedding? But no, not brought up, of course. Interesting, though, you see, when the fake friends come into Meghan's life, she can't wait to, of course, embrace them because they're celebrities. And celebrities might make her look good, and so that, in turn, is not bad, right? Now, here again is that where this gets really interesting, because if this was your friend, you might think twice about the way that you've been treated. You see, Chrissy Teigen turned up, and already a bit of a blemished copybook, as we say here in the United Kingdom, to say the least. But Meghan pushed that aside because this is the best now that she could rake up. The wife of a famous musician with no real background, other than like Meghan being a bit of a briefcase girl on a very successful TV show, and then bemoaning about how she was treated badly. Right. Marry rich, don't, you know that phrase? You know what I'm saying, ladies? Now, what's interesting here is, you see, there was a very strange piece that I found odd. And as you can imagine, it proved highly embarrassing. This was when the two ladies were talking about the birthdays of their children, Chrissy Teigen's children and Harry's children. And they were saying, well, my birthdays are these and this. And then Chrissy had to have a look at the tattoo. Now, she had to put the dates of her children's birthdays on her arm as a tattoo so she could remember them. That's how self-focused she is. But she couldn't even remember them because the tattoo was smudged, right? You couldn't make this stuff up. So she had to shout to her husband, John Legend, who very sort of like, yes, it's this, yes, it's that. Afterwards, according to a well-placed source who was working on the show at that point, well, Chrissy Teigen had second thoughts about this and thought it made her look quite bad. And perhaps could it be cut, whatever. The word back was absolutely, yes, completely, Now, as we know, it didn't get cut, right? So there's already a frost developing amongst this so-called friendship. I've been told that Prince Harry's not keen on Miss Teigen, likes John Legend, but apparently finds Miss Teigen, again, allegedly, rather abrasive, to say the least. Where this gets interesting is, not only then didn't Meghan take this out, or the team, depending on who you want to cite the blame to, but on top of it, it was included in a funny moments reel. Now, I understand this from the point of that particular lady, that it just makes you look bad that you can't remember the birth dates of your own children, and naturally you might want that removed. But apparently this was just a fun element, and it was so cute because it's so relatable. That relatable, as I say, that the friendship is now developing something of a frost. But Meghan, of course, will look at this as, well, what's the problem? It was just a bit of fun. Why are people upset? Imagine turning that back round to Meghan and her getting the birth date of her children, Harry's children, whatever you want to call them, wrong. Just imagine the reverse, and you see how this works now. Neil Sean in the very heart of London.